Hello, how's it going? Happy birthday, whoever's birthday it is. It's not mine. It's not my true birthday. My birthday is, of course, every day. But it is not my true, deep, powerful birthday. I've got a couple things I'm going to look at today. I figured I'd do Neofeud on Sunday. It feels like Sunday is like a real slow day to begin with, so it's good for gaming. It feels like a good day to do Neofeud. So knocking it back another one. I was doing it first day of the week, but now I'm doing Sunday again for gaming, maybe. And it could shift again. Who knows? Who knows? I don't really know. I don't really have a good judgment of it. Because, of course, a lot of the time, whether it's an active day or not, depends on what I put in the fucking title and what I'm doing on stream. We had a bunch of people on YouTube because I put only plays in the title because I was looking at the only plays thing. I don't necessarily have a good grasp on which days are more active. Might even all be equal. I don't know. Surely the weekend will be different from weekdays, though. Are you guys employed? No offense. I just have to imagine the kind of stuff I do is more appealing to a more unusual set of people. Although, who knows? What are the unemployment rates? Maybe being unemployed is common enough that you're unusual if you are. It's more than 50% unemployment in some places, I'm sure. Somewhere. Oh. Bop. Alright. Okay. Alternative Slop. What do we have? We have a psychiatrist, I believe, defending the internet against Dr. K. But I watched, I was trying to decide, do I want to see this? I don't know. I watched about 5 seconds of it, and the guy's mannerisms made me decide I wanted to watch all of it, and that I would do it on stream. Okay? Alright? Pog champ? Ooh. Does Dr. K... I know he does the, he draws from, what is it? It's not Vedic medicine, is it? I know there's Vedic maths. Maybe it's Vedic medicine as well. Whatever. That has the whole, eating lead tinctures or mercury tinctures and stuff. Ayurveda. Doesn't that extend into weird alchemical stuff? He looks like I think a particular comedian or comic actor, and I can't put my finger on who I have in my mind. Maybe when I press play, you'll see what I mean better. I'll crank the volume a bit.
In my clinical practice...
I think that's about all I watched. I think I don't think I even watched 5 minutes. I fucking burst out laughing off stream as well and decided... Can you imagine? He introduces himself and asks you, what's troubling you? And you say, and then he just bursts out.
In my clinical practice, working
starts blasting at you like that.
Daily as a psychiatric nurse practitioner, my patients often ask me, have you heard of Healthy
He's known as the deaf therapist.
Gamer? That's Dr. K, and he's a psychiatrist that talks about mental health topics on Twitch and YouTube. And right now he's sitting north of 3 million subscribers.
Okay. But what else has he talked about? Medication optimization. You think that way for a reason? Survival modality. Trauma finally makes sense once you see this. And he's like, what has he done to himself? He's pinked himself out a bit, I think. Just a little pinkified.
With the health shelf verification from YouTube. So the other night after work, I fired up the Healthy Gamer YouTube channel, and I started right at the beginning. And after 2 nights of burning the midnight oil, I completed this, the complete dossier, submitted for your approval. This is the case against Dr. K.
This is not going to be super serious.
If you're part of the Healthy Gamer Squad, I know...
Oh, no! This is gonna be super fucking serious. Wreckful comes up. Okay, never mind. This is gonna be serious as fuck.
You're thinking. And I'm
probably, right?
just gonna have to stop you right there. You're about to light up my comment section with one of the 3 following arguments. He helped me and no one else could. He's just having conversations with...
I'm imagining him talking like this to a patient, though, and that makes it absolutely unbelievably good. Will Neofeud 2 be tomorrow? Yeah, I think so.
What's the big deal? At least he makes mental health accessible. I've heard him, and I'm going to answer all 3 by the end of this video. My name is Jonathan Murphy, psychiatric nurse practitioner. For the past...
Psychiatric nurse practitioner. Okay. Alright, okay.
10 years, I've been working as a prescribing mental health clinician, treating adults with ADHD, complex PTSD, and autism spectrum disorder. Before you go ahead and grab a piece of that low-hanging fruit and try to take my man card because I'm a nurse, I'm here to tell you, I'm proud of it, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Sure.
Why? Because it's the art and science of human caring. And I have the legacy of Florence Nightingale.
Why are you defending yourself? He's trying to be brash and bold while making a totally unnecessary defense of himself that makes him look like he's trying to be brash and bold because he feels maybe even emasculated, given how strongly he's trying to defend himself in this sense. It's very, very strange. It's very strange.
To protect. That's the OG of modern nursing, which means I have a duty to inform you. And if you're out there, Gigi, this isn't a personal attack on your character, but every day you take another step forward.
It's not a personal attack on his character. We're going to bring up Wreckful. And I have to assume it's not going to be positive.
Toward being the institutional face of modern mental health care. You know, the official verified YouTube source of verified mental health care. The work I do daily out here in the real world.
I've seen some things that I didn't like from Dr. K. If I had to choose between Dr. K and him being in that position, it's really no contest.
World. I'm sorry to say, Dr. K, it's getting a little roasty in here. Now I'm just gonna break down the YouTube policies that I'm bound to, but Dr. K, with his 3 million subscribers, he just gets to recklessly stomp on them. YouTube...
Oh man, let's go, the seethe.
Has a medical misinformation policy. It's enforceable. It's published. But to be honest with you, if you're doing your job right, you probably don't have to think about that too much. As I break down the case against Dr. K, I want you to ask yourself, is this normal? Well, for instance, check out this video right here. Gigi, what's up with that? He's got a problem with those pesky emotions. In that video, he says, and I quote, when someone comes in with a generalized anxiety disorder and they're experiencing anxiety when they're ordering a hot dog, we will...
It is a good picture. It is a good picture.
Literally alter the creation of their emotion over the course of treatment. Gigi, did I hear you right? Are you seriously suggesting that you perform psychotherapy with a hot dog? Here's the problem with that. Emotions are involuntary reactions and responses to the things that you touch, smell, see, and hear. You know, your experience of the world around you. In other words, it's automatic and involuntary.
Careful. Surely you can alter that process, though. When people, even just using cognitive behavioral therapy over time, it's not 100% just reactive, as in you utilize it to pay attention to your thoughts and deal with them when it happens, and then it becomes quicker and quicker. People certainly do notice a change in their reaction to things, surely.
When your nervous system is fight or flight, survival response, everyone manages this input just a little bit differently. When your mind is racing and you just can't turn it off, that's your entire being saying, I don't feel so good. And you're not going to think your way out of it. But apparently Dr. K thinks we're just going to get in there and control it. He knows better, doesn't he? Well, yes, of course he does. He's not stupid. He got trained by Harvard Medical School and McLean.
I love that backdrop so much, by the way. It's so good.
In his residency. It's a shame he doesn't lead with toughs. And if we're trying to flex here, I graduated from Boston College. Oh yeah. And I worked at
That was so WPC-esque. The oh yeah? Did you hear that?
And if we're trying to flex here, I graduated from Boston College. Oh yeah. And I worked at Boston Children's Hospital, la-di-da. The reason he's saying this is because he's got a fancy coaching business. That psychiatry practice that he totally swears is still up and running, too small for him. He had to go big. He might be a board-certified psychiatrist, but all those licenses and academic credentials he likes to flex, they don't matter. Why?
Oh, man, bro. Oh, this is agonizing to watch. It is just coping and seething. If you wanted to attack him on those videos, you would need to show specifically what he actually says in them, not just the thumb and title, and attack it using your specialization, using your knowledge. What exactly was he saying? Why is it wrong? You are making this audience you're making this for a non-expert audience. Not only that, you are clearly keenly aware of it and presenting it in a way to convince a non-expert audience, which to me is slippery. Unless you get into detail. Which I don't think he is going to, because that section is called hot dog therapy and you're not going to come back to it. It just moves on.
You can hire a bunch of coaches. Why can't you just hire licensed mental health professionals? Oh yeah, that's right, they're too expensive. But he's not going to point you to the evidence-based treatment because his entire business model is about being the solution to the system.
The coaching thing, I did find a bit weird. That was one of the things I wasn't too sure about, because the coaches just are like people who come and get like some sort of training from his organization who are just like random gamers and shit. Yes? That was the thing that came up, and people who had been involved with it came out and shared their experience.
He's positioned himself as the answer to all our modern problems. Good.
This was fucking ages ago that I looked at this. I don't remember all the details. I may be saying total utter dog shit. My apologies if I am.
Good job, GG. Good job. Your emotions are fine where they are. Just stay in the chat. You're not going to get that from a regular old therapist. You're going to get that from Gigi. Now, let me just tell you a little story and we're going to forget all this noise. Something that happened a whole long time ago before all these...
His body language is freaking me out. Watch this.
And we're going to forget...
Here it goes.
All this noise. Something that happened a whole long time ago before all these pesky licensing boards and the FDA, all these...
What the fuck?
Regulations that are supposed to protect people. I can see it now. Rural America, 1882.
I was going to say, I wonder how this is being received. 5.2k views, 148 likes. They're not gonna... Pinned. The process is now available on Amazon. Bro. Everything I've documented across 100 videos into one clinical reference. God, dog.
Horse-drawn wagons rolls right into town. Well,
let me copy this. Let me go see the Amazon page. Let me peep. I thought it was someone getting something rammed into them. The process. An adult's guide to ADHD medication. ADHD medication should work. For most adults, it doesn't because the process around it is broken. Right. I see. Over the past decade, I have logged more than 20,000 direct clinical hours optimizing medication for adults across 4 states. Okay. Maybe this is what he should just fucking stick to. Maybe he is killer at this. Right? And nails it with people. Maybe the book is good. Maybe I should start doing ADHD medication based on his book. I'm sure you can get it on the dark web without having to get it prescribed. God, I hope I don't have ADHD, so that when I start to get even slower, I can start abusing ADHD medication.
To that outsteps a little fancy pants that calls himself a doctor. No medical degree or license, of course, but he got himself a modified megaphone, like one of them old-timer ones. And he's got a bottle of some little old something he's gonna convince everyone in town they can't live without. He puts himself on a show. Music, magic tricks. He gets the crowd all warmed up. He makes them laugh, and he makes them feel something. Just when they're...
The good shit from Dr. K is his interviews. Because regardless of anything else, he seems to be pretty good at cracking people.
They're at a fever pitch. They're most receptive, most excited. He goes ahead and pulls out this here bottle. The name's changed over the...
I think he's actually drunk. I think this is a little bit more than exaggerated acting.
At a fever pitch. They're most receptive, most excited. He goes ahead and pulls out this here bottle. The name's changed over the years, of course.
I think he's affected. It might not be alcohol. It might be weed. I think he's affected right now. Altered, I should say.
The pitch, it did not. This here bottle will cure your...
Mm-hmm.
An Apocalypse Forever 8434 fed the streamer a $5 superberry.
Thank you, Apocalypse Forever.
You see the YouTuber Sir Morrissey defends Skitty Bitty?
No, but that's whatever. I think I've said and done what I need to do. The burden is off me now. The weight of terrible knowledge has been undone.
Your rheumatism, your headaches, your bad nerves, your bad marriage.
You gotta understand, all of my videos are highly abusive. What it is, a lot of the time, is someone going, "Hey, Harmful, look at this," and I look at it, and then I feel like I have a fucking weight on my back. And what I do is I make a video, and then I go, actually, all of you people, fuck you, you carry this for me. Your problem now. Your problem now. Bye.
And your bad luck. It sure is a miracle. It's a revelation, people, and you ain't gonna find it nowhere else. It is available right here, of course, for the low price, 25
Can you? How long has this skit been going? Fuck me.
That crowd, they buy it all up. And then the wagon leaves town before the bottles even get opened. Back in the day, there were over 1,500 different bottles on the market. You remember Hamlin's Wizard Oil? How about that Kickapoo Indian Medicine Company? Of course, endorsed by them celebrities. Advertised in the fancy newspapers. Wouldn't you know it, sold in the pharmacy too. It was legitimate and people swore by it. Until it wasn't. And then
Speaking of being shown stuff, I just got a DM with a horrible thing. Oh my god. I'm just reading the summary of a Google Doc. Fuck me. How much of this shit is there? How much of this shit is there? It's not in the Candros. It's not in the Candros. I don't think their Discord name is the same as their chat name. I don't think the Discord... Okay.
1906, Uncle Sam stepped in, the Pure Food and Drug Act. That was the first time in American history you actually had to tell people what you were putting in the bottle. And just like that, the medicine show was
the
over.
accent.
Or was it? So let me go ahead and tell you what the medicine show looks like in 2026. Look at the topics, look at the angles, look at the pitches. Notice what he criticizes. The system, modern therapy, those pesky SSRIs, the medical establishment, traditional clinical care. But
Scam. That was just a thumbnail, yeah? Hang on. Why didn't you show me the, I think it's just a funny crop. It's a good thumbnail. If I search SSRIs, that's... Okay. Psychiatrist tells you the truth about antidepressants. Scam? Question mark?
More studies on SSRIs. What we sort of found is that the effect of SSRIs seems to be smaller than we originally thought. And that the effect of SSRIs is a
sizes. The system, modern therapy, those pesky SSRIs.
opening comment is
more studies on SSRIs, what we've sort of found is that the effect of SSRIs seems to be smaller than we originally thought. And
that is very, very fucking controlled and mild.
So let's try to understand a little bit about the efficacy of antidepressant medication. So a lot of people will be kind of, curious or concerned about how effective antidepressant medication is. People will be concerned that they'll be hooked on it and that it sort of is a happy pill and sort of creates an artificial sense of happiness. Whereas the truth is that pretty good, right? So we know, for example, on what they're doing or not doing. But the good news is that the data for SSRIs and antidepressants is pretty good, right? So we know, for example, that if you start an SSRI, that you can expect somewhere between a 30 and 50% improvement in your depressive symptoms over the course of 1 to 8.
The vibe I get from his characterization is fucking... Obviously, I haven't watched this full 35-minute video. Sure, okay. The vibe I get from a few seconds of the video is not the fucking vibe I'm getting from this guy's characterization right now. Let's see what he goes on to say.
The medical establishment, traditional clinical care, but let's talk about the alternative. Ayurveda? Meditation? Oh, I see what's going on here. His very own brand of spiritual psychology. It's a philosophy and worldview, mixing Hindu philosophy with...
Excuse me? Hold on. Hang on. Divine aura.
All right, kids, today we're going to talk about where aura comes from. And I want to be precise here because... we were thinking about what to title this, and it was like how to develop aura, but I'm going to be straight with y'all. The kind of aura that we're talking about, I'm not sure can be developed. And I'm really excited about this video because I find it incredibly fascinating. But we're talking about the kind of aura that is not regular charisma.
Are you a Sigma male?
This is the ability to walk into a room and people notice you're there. People can approach you and be very upset,
Are you a divine aura male?
Neuroscience. So he's built himself a worldview where the only path to healing is through him. And that's why we need to talk about the...
Well, looking at this initially, it seems like it's just you either have it or you don't, yeah? Then he talks about research on charisma, though. Hang on.
Broke down what all the components of...
He's talking about people researching charisma here.
Charisma are... But in that video and in this paper, we'll see that there's an element of charisma which these authors choose not to include, which is something called divine related.
Okay, this guy might be fucking onto something. Excuse me?
This is what we're going to talk about today. The aura that human beings associate with divinity. So all of the emphasis on charisma...
Associate with.
Outside of divinity or religion.
This is like an anthropological perspective.
Is a relatively new thing. And basically what's happened in the research is people have said oh, that's weird, mysterious.
Yes, he's showing that it's in other study. Okay.
Serious stuff, we don't know what it is. So we're going to ignore it and we're going to focus on the things that we can measure, the things
we're going into fair enough, this is fine territory. The initial impression, partly because I was primed by this guy, was what the fuck is happening here? And now it's okay.
Things that we can study. But if we look at the whole of charisma research, we see that actually in countries like France and Canada, religion is the most commonly discussed scholarly subject when it comes to...
It's fair. He's arguing his case. Fine. Assuming everything here is true. Whatever.
Hyper real. There are things that can happen in our postmodern reality where we can't tell the difference between reality and the thing. Like the imitation of real life becomes more real than life itself. So when you're playing a video game and then you start a Twitch stream and then you start doing therapy with people and then you put it on YouTube, that's 10 layers of hyper real. No wonder it looks crazy to everybody else. Okay. Performative, theatrical, reality style.
Oh God. Thank you. Thanks for now Hudo. Thanks for Neofeud.
Streamed theater is making a mockery of my
I thought the bit donor noise was in the video, and I was about to say, oh, I like that choice. I like that choice to slip that little noise in to trigger something in the people who are familiar with common Twitch stream sound effects, right? I did not, Garbo Gamer.
profession.
I gotta tell you, I know Cy Scribbles did art for Anthony G. And something happened. He, disavowed her. I don't know what that was about, though. They're enemies now. Because of something, and something Anthony disavowed her for. I don't know what that thing is, though. I've never looked.
This isn't new. This is a pattern, and it's been happening for a while. This isn't even the first time the medicine show came back from the dead, and that means it's just about time to introduce you to a man named John Brinkley.
All right.
He had a medical degree. He bought it from a diploma mill in Kansas City. Set up a little shop in a town called Milford, Kansas. Brinkley's
Can you
genius
just never do a put-on voice or accent again, please, man? Just never do it. Don't. Do not. I hate it. I despise it. Hang on. I'm gonna quickly look up disavow. Let's see if I can see anyone saying this. I've been talking with people on Twitter today, by the way, just as another side rant or whatever. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. They're trying to get me to apologize for dropping M-bombs on Twitter. I don't agree that it's a problem, so I won't. I will not lie and apologize for things I think are okay. Similar to the Birdman, except his thing he thinks okay is, I think, not. And the reverse is also true. However, I am not him, I am me. I had a guy I was talking to today. I was talking to a handful of people, right? There is someone convinced... I've told you about this before, but a lot of this has been in DMs. There is a guy publicly suggesting that what I'm doing is defending the critical drinker, right? And I push him and push him and push him. I'm like, what's... Okay. He even says, I'm sweeping for the critical drinker. My understanding was that the fight between critical drinker and these other guys is just over fucking kids' movies, or their opinions on kids' movies or something. Right? So I'm going, okay... most of the shit I look at in these videos is someone coming to me, telling me there's something here you should look at, and if it interests me, I'll go and look, yeah? So I say to him, you can just give me the dirt on Critical Drinker or put me in the direction, and if I think it's interesting, I'll make a video on him, on whatever I found, right? You push him, you push him, you push him. And then he makes all these long fucking tweets about how, he said someone was Chinese when they weren't or something. That's not what he said, but there's some shit like that. This long messages about fucking actual... Oh, he was pressed to name 5 Japanese movies and he couldn't. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. And then at the end he goes, oh yeah, and then there was that time he was in court for beating the shit out of an 11-year-old. Lead with that, says Siffy. Right? Hello, man who I think is a fucking hired gun, whose channel is all just weird, insane shit to do with people online. Let me tell you about their fucking baby movie reviews and not share the most insane dirt of all time. Now, the story behind that is because what he said is true. What he said is true. Critical Drinker did have to appear in court, accused of pushing and punching an 11-year-old multiple times. He pled not guilty, and he was found not guilty because CPS, Scotland's version of CPS, not Child Protective Services, this is Crown Prosecution Service, or whatever it's called in Scotland, basically state prosecution, they dropped it. Now, that probably means they did not have shit on him, which also means I'm not going to be able to find anything. And if CPS is dropping charges of brutally assaulting a random 11-year-old, I would suggest it's probably not real. I don't think they drop that shit lightly. There would have to be like fucking nothing to it, like not even marks. I would bet. I found people talking about it at the time. Everyone was just saying like, glad to hear it, and this was before he was a major YouTuber or anything. The people in his local area were like, glad to hear this is sorted out, and they were highly critical of the newspaper. Because both of the articles fucking doxed him. They put his fucking address, they just put his address in the news. They go, charges were dropped, he was found not guilty, you know, they didn't decide to pursue it anymore. Here's his fucking address. Kind of nutto. Indeed, he was just an author, and that was mentioned. But if you're gonna try and, like, if you, I don't know, if you're gonna try and convince me to look at someone online, surely you must know that's the first thing to say.
Procedure was the surgical implantation of slivers of goat testicle into the scrotums of men complaining of low energy, impotence, or general malaise, and he claimed these testes cured 27 different conditions. He performed it on thousands of patients, and I'm sure a lot of them said it was really helpful, but some people died. But he kept going. In 1923, he got himself a radio station.
Okay.
He used to take call-in questions, and right there on the air, he would recommend his special medicines. You know, he just so happened to have a financial stake in. The AMA, the American Medical Association, they noticed, and they started.
Focus path. You have to be careful, given most of your videos are about ADHD, and you are shilling your ADHD medication book. The approach to tweaking it. Be careful with these examples and analogies.
Investigating, and any single time anyone took legal action over him, he just said he was being persecuted, so he took his operation down to Mexico. Credential, the license, the authority, those are just barriers. You know what? Sounds kind of familiar. The medium has moved too quickly. We went from thousands of years of just talking to each other to thousands of years to writing stuff down. Then all of a sudden you get radio, you get all this other crazy stuff, iPads and Virtual Boy. Anyway, things moved way too quick with the radio. By the time the institutions caught up.
This guy's fucking out of it, bro.
Anyway, things moved way too quick with the radio. By the time the institutions.
Is this just how he looks when he's reading or something? What's your oldest video? ADHD focus formula. When you want more than just medication. Your family is toxic, here's what to do. Okay. The hyper-focus trap. Toxic people show these 5 signs. Do you have unlisteds? I'd be curious to see this guy's unlisteds. Every time I do this, I'm a little bit scared I'm going to come across some dark occult knowledge. He's big enough to be listed. To be catalogued in my favorite transcript tool. Focus path systems. He is indeed... Do you got any unlisteds? No unlisteds catalogued. For your understanding, that doesn't mean there are no unlisteds. Typically, when you use a tool like Filmot to find unlisteds, what's happened is it was public at some point and then unlisted. Because what happens is they expose it publicly on YouTube, they have it catalogued on YouTube, Filmot grabs it and then recognizes that they've unlisted it later, so it still maintains the link, and you can ask for which ones that you've catalogued are unlisted now. Anyway, whatever.
caught up, Brinkley had already served up his goat testicles to millions of people, and he built himself up a pretty strong mythology that lasted, well, still to this very day. 100 years apart, same playbook, different wagon. And now for the tea. And I've been spilling quite a lot lately. So you probably already know that.
It's not even zesty. He has the zest of a moldy, rotten orange. It doesn't count as zesty. It's trying to be zesty.
The story, but I'm going to repeat it just in case. When
He's like bad marmalade.
Dr. K was really coming up in the arena that any respectable Harvard-trained psychiatrist.
Thank you, two kids.
Goat balls for hot.
Thank you for the goat balls. What's the game that the two cat lol came from? Hang on. Two cat. No, not Gravity Rush. Two cat.
Would, on Twitch, there was this famous streamer, and this is where I like to keep these videos light, but this is why I got a roast. In 2019, he started a series of conversations with a Twitch celebrity went by the name Rectful. And he conducted a series of what he called totally not therapy for a audience of people tipping and commenting and all this other
Mom, can we have Mr. Girl? We got Mr. Girl at home.
stuff. And Rectful was famous. His mental health struggles were not a secret. And man, the whole thing was kind of a bummer to watch, to put it lightly. And you can still watch it, still right up there.
Rectful torture videos.
Getting monetized. It's hard to talk about, honestly. People are watching this go down.
I mean, not that hard. It's obviously not that hard, man.
All right, I just want to let you know we're not doing therapy here, but tell me all your deep, dark secrets. You're just going to have to hear this for yourself. Roll tape.
You can call me Byron if you want. I've dealt with depression my whole life, pretty much. I mean, since I was like 14. A bunch of people in my chat were telling me I should call you.
Okay.
So here I am.
Okay, and by the way, so a couple of ground rules. So I'm a psychiatrist, but I can't treat your depression over the internet. If you do happen to have those thoughts again, feel free to reach out. You have my Discord.
Hit stop. The reason that I create content in
the controversy was over whether or not their relationship constituted a de facto doctor-patient relationship. Yeah, that was the argument and the controversy. Yeah.
Way that I do, you have to understand the medium that you're working for the message to get across. So I seek to entertain because I want to inform. I don't understand what the point of
this guy's fucking drunk, I'm telling you.
Any of this was. All right, roll tape.
You're gonna divide your audience.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. We'll say, you can die, but not until you've done what you need to for that 5-year-old. I'm gonna try to love you for 2 years, in a minute.
I really appreciate it.
Stop. It feels voyeuristic. It feels gross, dude. I mean...
Yeah, but I also love it. I don't even disagree, but I love it. There's probably some kind of... If I were more versed and more familiar, I could probably make an ethical argument about why it seems fucked up, but it does seem weird to me. However, the question that comes to mind is, would it be right to forbid this from happening ever? I don't think that Rectful was impaired enough or in a way that would mean he should not be allowed to enter into such an agreement to appear on a stream, if you get what I'm saying. So maybe from like a psychiatric ethics perspective, it could be a problem. But this happening at all, I'm not sure is.
Roll tape.
And
if you understand what I'm getting at. I feel I'm not being very articulate.
every time I work with someone, I give a piece of myself to them. And yesterday,
Reverse Hannibal Lecter.
the piece that I had given.
That's what the dentist who used to squirt cum down people's throats also said. Do you know about that guy, by the way? Are you familiar?
To Rectful died with it. Yesterday, the piece that I had given to Rectal died with it.
Sorry. My damn Horcrux killed itself! What the fuck, man? I can't believe Rectal did that to you.
Here's what I tell my patients. Anything that...
And the ending of Harry Potter, all of Voldemort's fucking Horcruxes were suicidal people, and they all just happened to off themselves, and he was fucked.
is inside of you, your thoughts, your feelings. When you reveal anything to anyone, there's a vulnerability there. Even something really boring like your favorite thing to eat for lunch. We need to understand that is data for you. My job in therapy is just to help people understand, to be on the outside looking in. But I need you to tell me what you're going through for me to know. It's a dyad. It's two people. It's the therapeutic alliance, and it's the essence of what therapy is. It's the foundation. And much later, when you know how to regulate...
The point of contention, though, is... would something in this format always necessarily be considered therapy and therefore unacceptable to broadcast in this way? You get what I'm saying? The point of contention is, does this count as clinical therapy? And then, an argument might be, well, Dr. Case made it clear to him that's not what they're doing. However, can you just say it's not and then do something that is? Just say it isn't when you are doing it? And then I would suggest, well, that would mean this arrangement is always unacceptable, or maybe unacceptable between someone who is credentialed and is presenting themselves as a psychiatrist and someone who isn't. Would this have been okay if Dr. K wasn't a psychiatrist? Whatever. It's a bit of a mess.
Then you might be prepared to share it. When a community grieves together, something that's been talked about and published in literature of grief, social cohesion, and detachment for the past 50 years, when a group of people share a powerful emotional experience, especially ones that involve loss, vulnerability, and a charismatic figure, the brains of the people within that community release a cocktail of chemicals. This is the same neurochemistry that mediates child-parent attachment. It's called trauma bonding. And anyone that has
my fucking God.
gotten training in psychiatry or understands mental health at all knows this. I've been in this field for a long time. I've been doing this for over 2 decades.
From watching a guy talk about it on YouTube? I don't know, man. Sorry, I didn't do the notifications.
Sometimes people make really bad decisions. You gotta be a little crazy to go in psychiatry. You have to be really close to it. Unfortunately, it's just how it is. So to have someone behave recklessly, that is representing mental health and representing themselves as a credentialed expert, and then they behave poorly.
Doing a live interview on Twitch automatically constitutes a de facto therapist to the rape the relationship. Theraped is a much more horrifying way to say it, though.
That's just normal. The only thing that's not normal is that it's so public. Yeah, sure, someone lost their life, but someone got famous. It's shocking, it's egregious, it's unacceptable. He should have apologized. It's the only reasonable thing to do. But
I mean, that's not going to bring him back, is it? Could Reckful consent to that arrangement? I think the answer is yes. So...
didn't. That performance wasn't a failing. It's the medicine show. Because we got a healthy gamer coaching, folks. 100.
Do you want to kill yourself? Come talk to my coaches. Check out our results. I think Reckful is like the worst ad for it. I'm not sure that works.
140 contracted, unlicensed coaches. 3,000 clients a month, weekly sessions. The same cadence that the medical board reprimanded him for. Scaled is sold to millions of people as just as good as the real thing. It's not the real thing. But he found a way through it all. Sure, he consulted more than one legal counsel just to make sure he could do his thing when no one was looking. Yeah, sure, he cites research, internal studies, pre-post observational data with no control group, no peer review. But at the end of the day, he's talking to a crowd. Well, that's the case against Dr. K. And he's said it himself more than once in interviews and on stream. I'm here because no one else is doing this. Somebody has to step up. The system is broken.
You almost want to agree with the drunk, but you're not sure. So what I think is happening here is he has one or two things that could be used to say something with, and he's not really saying or effectively saying the things you could use it to say.
And no one else is here, so he has to do it. Well, since September 12th, 2025, I've produced 93 videos and counting. Why? Because I love it. I love creating. The only reason I'm here is because it's the thing that I happen to work in. It's a ghost town out here. I've known it in my practice for quite a long time, but I didn't know how bad it was. And yeah, there's no other clinicians because no other clinicians can self-produce 93 videos while having a private practice. But I'm happy to do it because
this guy's a fucking straight nut.
Of the love of the game, I love creating cinema, but it shouldn't be this hard.
Do not, for the love of God, whatever medicine this guy tells you to take, do not ever listen to this man. Okay? Ever.
It shouldn't be this hard to prove that my 4 DEA licenses are real. I don't care. I'm going to be here anyway.
I got my DAE license from Reddit.
But it should be easier for others. YouTube and its misinformation policies and the Health Shelf Authority, it's incredibly challenging for people to get out there and counter these voices that have already been online since before the pandemic. Things have changed significantly over the years. And these voices that showed up pre-pandemic, they're all grandfathered
He's off. I'm telling you, he's fucking off it.
in, even if it was completely egregious and offensive. So yes, it's misinformation to promote your version of therapy that you're like, oh, we're all in this together. I denounce it with the fullest weight that I can throw at this.
Unfortunately, that's like nothing, though. The fullest weight is basically nothing.
Be a million grifters on the internet, but don't make this dude the face of mental health. Psychiatry, working with patients, understanding psychopathology, actually helping people, and not needing the credit for it on a public forum. This is important work, and it matters, and it's real. I'm showing up to disrupt things. And
oh, man. Don't say it, just do it. If you want to show up to disrupt things, just do it. Just do it. I know a thing or two about that, just saying.
my spurs are a-jingling, because there's a new sheriff in town. I'm not here because I want to be. I'm here because I have to be.
Holy
because
Christ.
there's no alternative. And when there's no alternative, the medicine show rolls right into town. But I'm rolling up into your world now, Gigi. You're about to be roasted in the only way I know how. I'm sorry to be so disruptive, but in the spirit of your brand, Leroy Jenkins. Leroy Jenkins.
Unbelievably horrendous video. Unbelievably bad. I don't know that I've seen one quite as terrible in years. This was 3 months ago. Human behavior is extremely... Maybe we'll just watch this guy today. Human behavior is extremely predictable once you see this pattern.
Have you ever spent 3 hours listening to a podcast about psychology?
Is that Down syndrome Will Smith?
Listening to a
What the fuck? Is that AI Will Smith?
Have you ever spent 3 hours listening to a
Does anyone else see it?
podcast about psychology, only later to realize you don't remember any of it? After all, with so many opinions on demand, when it comes to the nature of our human condition, maybe none of it is real. Not so fast, because that great big beautiful tomorrow is today. By the end of this video, you will understand human psychology so clearly, it will forever change the way that you look at the world. We are simply using the science and the...
You're feeling very snake oily right now, man.
of information that we know to be true, so that you can finally navigate the implications of group psychology with grace and sophistication. But I thought mental health was only an individual amalgamation of brain chemicals. Oh, little Johnny. They certainly tell an important part of the story. As we
He's trying so hard.
delve into the marvelous maze of mass psychology. In order to properly understand the influence of mass psychology on your life, we're going to need to go back all the way to the beginning. Now allow us to take a moment to consider the individual life cycle of a single cell. Under such microscopic conditions, the individual cell
I don't think I can do this.
appears bizarre, formless, and unusual. It is not until
If we speed this up, it's going to be a true visual nightmare.
the scientist scales back his magnification device that he may appreciate the dynamic symphony of many parts becoming the whole. I give you the modern adult human. He is in fact governed by the same tribal instinct that has motivated human survival since the very beginning. And now we arrive as observer, a mother cradling her newborn babe. Meanwhile, doting dad lovingly captures the memory with his eye stone. Suddenly, in walks Uncle Kraton, exhausted from the perils of an unsuccessful dinosaur hunt.
I'm good. I'm okay. When commentary is high-key bad. Now, this is a New Zealand video, so my girlfriend will start screaming if she has the stream open. But this was recommended to me. I don't know what this is going to be. People call a lot of things commentary. At this point, I don't know... what is meant in the video by it. Hang on. Let's go.
In April of 2026, a YouTuber going by the name Doothy uploaded a video that quickly exploded in popularity. It was entitled Commentary is Low-Key Bad, and it consisted of Doothy noting that videos that fall under that genre.
We watched that. I gotta tell you, I don't really remember much beyond the puppets and whatnot. It didn't stick for me.
Can often feel formulaic, superficial, and repetitive. To her, at least, and her opinion garnered mixed feedback, as many opinions do. But they did start an interesting discussion. And now, I would like to contribute to that discussion, because I'm just so important and everyone cares. And I am quite late for this, I have to say. I mean...
I feel like if there is one hair on your mic, when I do my face cam videos, I have like cat hairs on my shirt. It's a black shirt. It's like fucking impossible to get rid of all of them. If there's one hair on your mic, take that shit off. You need to notice you need to take that shit off.
Trends go like this online now, so I'm pretty much last in line to speak about this, but that's on brand for me, so it's fine. Because initially, I mean, I thought the conversation was interesting, but I was like, I don't really have anything to add. I mean, what am I going to say? Nothing useful. And then I came across something that did spark some thoughts for me, which I'll explain for you, but I don't want...
It would have reset again. It should be good now, Dan.
Thank you for fixing the audio on the first video you watched, Riddler. Did it reset again?
It should be good now.
I get too in depth about it because basically this happened in May and there was like this relatively small YouTuber, I mean bigger than me, but small, I'm still tiny. But she made waves in the sort of like commentary deep dive space for what the majority considered to be all the wrong reasons. And like, I'm not going to be explicitly sharing this YouTuber's details or anything like that for her channel because that's just not my point. I mean, when I say that she's already had a hearty helping of flack, I mean, she has, so...
Flak Monkey! You ever play Unreal Tournament? The Flak Cannon? So good. Anyway, nothing to do with this.
Consider that context if you do identify her or seek her out. But I'm just going to call her like this YouTuber, this creator. So basically, this YouTuber has a channel dedicated to exposing abusers, predators, people. If you think of Onision, I know, sorry about the jump scare, but she claims to feel a draw towards producing this type of content because she wants to protect victims, which is a noble thing to do, all things considered. But inarguably, it is a risky space to operate in. I mean, the wrong approach to any given topic could inadvertently do some serious harm. It could direct unwanted attention towards the victim. It could serve to muddy an ongoing legal case before a conviction is made. And of course, any creator that makes like expose or call out content, they have so many degrees of separation, right? However many they have from the actual situation, that they're usually relying on like information that's publicly available, other people. People's video,
open source information,
vlogs of their subject, you know, and also hearsay, of course, claims, things that other people have said that they've done, and they use those things.
Hearsay is gay. Just go find it. Become a pit bull.
Things to
pretend you're the information is a crippled child, and then just latch onto it and start shaking it.
Make very bold and sometimes even life-ruining accusations, which, you know, is scary for them as well, because there's always that potential that you might be sued for defamation if you get something a bit wrong, or even if you don't, you know, you don't know who you're dealing with.
Can always happen.
Had been this creator's experience so far. She'd actually already run into some legal, I don't want to say trouble, but battles over the things that she'd said about a certain person. What I'm getting at is that generally, while I'd imagine that this content could feel like rewarding or enlightening to me.
I'm becoming more and more annoyed looking at this, and I've just realized she's got 2 different ukuleles on the wall. Now, there is some reason to have 2 different ones, alright? They are different scale lengths, which sound different and feel a bit different to play. However, I cannot fathom buying 2 shit entry-level ukuleles. Don't get multiple entry-level shit. Don't do that. Do not do that. It's better to stick with one until you can afford a nice one.
But it could also feel quite nerve-wracking and quite emotionally draining, especially for somebody like...
Are they different? Yes. Yes, they are different. Different scale length.
This creator. She has spoken about her struggles with her own mental health, particularly PTSD, and I know as someone...
PTSD? Don't worry, Whaler. I will look at your Google Docky. Alright?
With CPTSD, immersing myself in making this type of content would affect me. Personally, it would cloud my judgment, it would make things difficult to complete, and it would make me emotional. Like, I'd get very emotionally invested. But that's me. I don't know what's been happening for her. All I know is that by mid-May of 2026, she would make what she later self-proclaimed as being more lighthearted deep dive video. And this piece of content would focus on a trad goth YouTuber that was probably at her most popular a decade
what?
ago, who goes by It's Black Friday, but...
Trad goth as in, like, traditionally goth? Or like a goth trad wife? I presume it must mean they're old school gothic, yeah?
For simplicity, we'll call her Freya because that's her actual name. She's a Kiwi, represent, but she's also, from what I understand, a pretty beloved creator in that sort of space online. And so viewers who were familiar with her were kind of shocked to see her name pop up on this channel that's centered around exposing very bad people, usually. And unfortunately, this creator did nothing to clarify in her video about Freya that her intention in covering her was to take a break from her regular mission. In fact, the tone that she used and the accusations that she made really did not reflect any sort of lighthearted intention, because this creator opened her video with a threat aimed directly at Freya. And
let's hear it. Are you gonna play it? Oh, let's go.
What that implied to viewers really was that this...
What's Twitch censor Lincoln? Call of shame. Huh? Oh, he's just demanding someone let him delete their account or whatever. Dear Repulse, under the terms of our agreement, I hereby formally request that you forward the administrative details for your YouTube channel in preparation for its scheduled deletion live on stream. What is going on here?
this creator had complete and utter confidence in the claims that she was going to go on to make. I'll insert this clip for you just because I think this is part of what got people really riled up about the situation. Spoiler alert.
This is actually for Freya directly.
Listen to me very closely.
Oh.
If you attempt to get this video taken down, not only will you bring even more attention to it,
but I will never stop talking about it.
I will make multiple follow-up videos, and I will monetize the hell out of it.
Right. Here's why that's a really silly threat. If Freya takes down your first video and you upload 2 more videos, that's your channel gone. Because she's just gonna take those, like, just gonna DMCA those 2 and then you're gone. And then it's over. And then you're finished.
Do not do something stupid. It will not bode well for you. I can promise you that.
So that was part of the intro, but things didn't stop there because basically this creator went on to, rather than like covering the life and times of its Black Friday, which is maybe more of what you'd expect from a deep dive video, she instead went on to make severe claims about Freya's personal relationships, her private experiences, and some of the content that she posted publicly. I'll break it down for you. This will be among other things. Like, I can't remember everything, but she accused Freya of being a disrespectful person and also...
Okay. Disrespectful. Is this the level they're dealing with in, like, women's commentary? Disrespectful person.
Being a racist because she posted a skin lightening tutorial, which I guess was to
It was a recipe for a sugar scrub.
reduce freckles because she is a natural ginger and we do get some sun damage.
Here's the thing, though. If you call someone racist and give the reason for it, and it's not something a reasonable person would think you're a fucking malignant racist for, I don't think it's really a big deal that they called you racist, right? Right? If I make a video and I'm like, fucking Dix McCoy in the chat is a racist, he got Chinese, and he had it delivered, and he didn't tip the driver. Who gives a fuck?
But also, she said that Freya was a liar, she abandoned her pets.
Like, once you have the details of the claim, like if I was like, he's a horrible, violent racist and a threat to all minorities or whatever, and if I went into like, but I never made it clear why I'm saying that, and it hit his reputation, put him in danger, sure. If I did that and I made a false claim that was really extreme, sure. If I was like, he's the worst racist of all time, and I'm like, he pronounced the Chinese word wrong, I don't think it really matters that I called him racist.
So she defrauded her viewers and that she was a neglectful parent. So very fun and lighthearted, right? And also, what sort of took people off guard was that this creator mixed in the fact that Freya's mum, based on what could be seen of her online, didn't seem like a very nice person at all. But she spoke about that as if it reflected poorly on Freya, just because Freya was like a product of her mum, but she had no connection to what her mum was saying or doing. So, I mean, as a creator who produces deep dive videos myself, my personal judgment upon watching this video, devoid of anyone...
Kiwis always sound like they're choking. Warzone streamers humiliated on LAN. I see. Probably.
Else's comments was that it seemed half-baked and barely thought through. That's what I would say. And I think that's especially egregious when you consider the damage that it had the potential of doing to Freya and her family, because these weren't, you know, like...
You're racist, and then the evidence is a body scrub video? I don't think that has the potential to influence a reasonable person.
Little comments that this creator was making. But the reason that I could so easily make that judgment without even knowing anything really about this creator or about its Black Friday was because the entirety of this creator's arguments were vocally founded upon unverified claims and baseless assumptions, and she didn't even try to hide it, which makes me think perhaps she wasn't fully understanding what was so wrong about what she was doing. Because she, almost smugly, I'd say, if you can imagine that sort of energy, read her points straight out of a document that had been emailed to her by a stranger that was relatively
What? This is the crazy part.
Fully understanding what was so wrong about what she was doing. Because she, almost smugly, I'd say, if you can imagine that sort of energy, read her points straight out of a document that had been emailed to her by a stranger that was relatively lacking in actual sources and, like, factual proof. And then if there were any gaps in the narrative, she just filled them in with snark Reddit comments. She's already heard everything that I'd say about that, so I don't think it's necessary.
You read it, essentially just a script a stranger sent? You're out of your... she's crazy. For her safety, she needs to get off. Actually, this is like the biggest thing I've heard so far.
For me to say anything other than in failing to validate those statements herself, personally, with facts, this creator laid the longevity of her career as a reputable deep dive expose person in the hands of strangers that, from like a neutral standpoint, it seemed like they had an axe to grind with Freya, right? They had a lot of bad things to say about her for some reason. And so she, I don't want to say forced, but somewhat forced Freya to recall a lot of painful events in her life and also reveal...
At Polly McCoy fed the streamer a $2 superberry. I tip. Not tipping doesn't make you racist, though.
What if I monitor your tipping and there's a racial bias to who you tip at all and how much you tip? Then you're fucked, brother. You're going in the damn New York Times.
Intimate details of those events to the public to protect her image that she kind of did nothing of her own to damage. I mean, she just lived her life and documented it online, and of course that opens you up for people to have opinions on what you do. But there's a line, right? Basically, Freya released a very honest, all-encompassing video. She had receipts for like everything. Sorry, I'm laughing because it's just like so bizarre, but essentially watching Freya's video, it became exceedingly clear that this creator's call-out video was slander. Oh, it just makes me cringe for her. Like, I just wish that she didn't do that, but I suppose we learn sometimes the hard way, sometimes we hurt people. It's just a shame, isn't it, that it happened. But this creator did face backlash for her poorly researched video, I think rightly. And then there were also viewers wondering, like, could we even trust anything you've ever stated as fact? Which is a shame.
No, don't.
Because I think all things going well, this creator did have important things to say. And sometimes, I mean, she had perfectly appropriate...
Part of my approach to dealing with... I would prefer people not believe my videos based on any sort of credibility. And I would prefer that people look themselves. In instances where it's not possible for them to look, part of my approach is to do things in a way that forces the subject of my video to confirm the authenticity of what I'm showing you. You get what I'm saying? I sculpt the videos in phases, and I do work before the video to try and make it so that I have confirmations that don't rely on you trusting me at all. Force people into acknowledging and providing evidence themselves that what I'm saying is real.
Coverage of events. I was drawn to her video entitled "The Jojo Siwa Mickey Rourke Situation is Awful" because I recognized the name Jojo Siwa, and I gave that a watch, and everything in there was credible. She had video, audio proof of everything that she was speaking about. Her points were all...
Shush, past the tyrant. Shush. I mean... yeah, I guess. I was thinking about strategy in terms of, like, content strategy and getting views or whatever. This stuff is just, like, instinct to me.
All founded on that credible evidence.
So do you like girls or boys?
Me? Girls.
I know.
That's fair, Pat. That does actually sound strategic as fuck. Yeah, fair enough. Maybe I am, just not in the content brain sense. The number one thing that that I keep thinking about whenever I look at my creator page is in terms of doing the like content thing and like making money on YouTube, I keep making videos that are shorter than 8 minutes. And it literally doubles your income. If I took like my 7-minute 52-second AI wrote this video, if I made that video 8 seconds longer, I would have made twice as much money. Like if you look at it compared to an older, like a similar viewed video over 8 minutes. Or like the first Birdman video. The first Birdman video versus the second. The second has quadruple the revenue at a similar view count, just because of length. And the biggest thing is that the first one was under 8 minutes. I don't really think about that. Like the strategy isn't so much in like doing YouTube or doing the video, it's in like fucking getting the info I want and having the impact I want. It's the communication itself. Anyway.
Could tell.
So I'm curious, Mickey, what was it about JoJo that...
Am I still making a video on the Birdman? There'll probably be at least one more. But I mean, I'm busy. I'll probably be busy for at least a few days. There is some like insane shit, and I'd like to see if some things I'm watching continue to happen first.
You could tell that she was gay. If she was wearing a pink dress, would that be less gay to you?
The lesbian I'm gonna vote out.
No, you can't do that, Mickey.
We as a society need to be far more diligent in calling this shit out when it happens. Because it's not harmless, it's not just a joke, it's threatening, and it's dangerous, and it fosters an unsafe environment for LGBTQ plus women everywhere.
So what happened? What went wrong? I mean, possibly she just wasn't in the right mental state to be making this type of video. I can't say that for her, but maybe. As we go through this video, of course, we'll speak about...
Didn't you show us that she did say that? Something about PTSD or whatever? Didn't she?
More reasons why things like...
Hey Tim, did you ever went to Japan? Are you joking? Yeah, I did.
This might happen. But for now, I'll go back...
Last year.
To say that, you know, people were really disappointed. But although this creator's niche did make her misstep particularly grievous, what she fell into is actually a common trap, I'd say, that commentary YouTubers do take the bait for all too often. And I'm not excluded from this. I am also somewhere in the commentary deep dive niche. So everything I say in here, I'm also saying to myself. Like, I hold myself to this standard, and this is where my opinion has been born from, I guess. But we'll talk about that. First, I want to clarify what exactly I mean when I refer to commentary YouTubers or commentary videos. So my definition would be that these things are at least somewhat scripted or pre-researched, and the topics they're based around pertain to either public figures or situations unfolding in the public, namely on social media. It's kind of, I feel like it has to be a very broad, all-encompassing definition, because everyone seems to have a different understanding of what exactly qualifies as a commentary video, and I'm kind of trying to keep this very open. But while we're clarifying things, actually, this is probably a good point for me to throw in just my regular disclaimer that I am not a supercomputer. I don't have like a brilliant, infallible brain. I'm just a girl with access to Google, and I'm not that smart, okay? So all I'm saying is please don't take my word for gospel. Oh, and also my accent is a Kiwi accent. I'm from New Zealand. Perhaps...
Really?
I speak a little funny. I can't help it. I don't know. It's just how I speak.
What is this, Whaler? A big Stellar Blade fan account has turned against Blood Rain because of its use of AI.
I don't want people to go into this thinking that there was some proven malfeasance.
I'm like an hour late playing catch up.
That's
Why
fine.
does this guy look like Dave Grohl had a baby with Haberman Medoka?
I gotcha. He does look like that. You can't hear me say this because you're late, but maybe if you watch the whole thing, you hear him. Nobody cares. Customers have only cared if the game is fun. Well, I mean... So, customers have only ever cared if the game is fun. Is wrong. Because you buy the game before you've played it. Increasingly, especially with the lack of demos, sales don't come from people thinking the game is fun, right? This is like not really important or relevant to the argument being made, but not quite right. When people cry, but my suggestion is, details like this about the game are more important than you might think, because it's effectively black PR. It's counter marketing. Yeah. When people cry AI uses stolen art, nobody cares because all of us had our data used. Artists aren't special. People recognize that the genie is out. Yeah. Well, the people who care. The people who don't. And I'd suggest a significant number of the people who care do not necessarily care enough to not buy the game they were looking forward to. What's the next one? Gamers have no soul, and they will always eat shit, is actually the most important thing to understand when you're looking at any pattern in consumer behavior when it comes to electronic entertainment. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying?
And I think that gets pretty much all the exposition out of the way, except I must elaborate on what I mean also when I refer to hikey bad commentary content, because I'm jumping on a trend by
the people who don't care vastly outnumber those that do. I would say that's correct.
Titling at this, but I still need to
I think the people who don't even know outnumber the people who care.
Prove myself. But beforehand, I just want to say that what I mean is literally what I mean. I can only generalize. I cannot speak for everyone. I cannot cover every nuance. Everyone will, of course, have their own opinions and perceptions and experiences when it comes to engaging with any form of content, and that includes commentary content.
I hate this being said in videos. I hate this being said in videos. I hate people describing what they are, what they're trying to do in videos. Don't do it. I don't like it. Just be that.
Have intentionally not really
I get that the meta commentary makes sense for this video because she's talking about a kind of video, a genre. Still is so annoying to hear. Oh, thank you, baby. I can grab this. I'll actually add it afterwards. But. Well, I can add it right now. Let me save that to desktop. And what I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something important. Okay, let me pull this into here. I'm going to delete the one called 1. Sorbet clip. There are 41 sorbet clips that can be pulled from with the bit donation. There is a new clip that can show up in the rotation, and it has replaced number 1, and it is this. Here's your preview of what can show up now. Holy shit! Someone just rolled on sorbet, and it's another catnip video. Are you fucking serious? I think there's only one other catnip video. You just rolled a 1 in 41 chance, man. That's pretty crazy.
In any particular content creators by name in this video. I haven't really mentioned anyone. And that's because I really want what I say to be open to interpretation based on what you watch on the platform, so that you can reach your own understandings, your own conclusions. My thought is that commentary
I try my hardest not to totally dominate your pathetic little brain.
Videos are bad when they have the potential to be seriously damaging, which I know is not a groundbreaking thought, but it is one that I think that as a whole, creators and viewers alike, including me, possibly don't consider enough. And to provide you with an idea of what the structure of this video is going to be, because I was so unstructured in making this that I didn't even say that. First, I'm going to explain what sort of content I'm talking about exactly, which is sort of the content that encourages or is cyberbullying or harassment. And I'm also going to talk about how that type of content affects both the subject of that content, but also the viewer of that content, and then of course society as a whole and the creators of that content. So that's the journey we're heading on. Thanks for being here. Let me begin. I guess it's just something that I've noticed that kind of everywhere you look online, but particularly for this topic in the commentary space, you can see people approaching others with the assumption that they must be doing their worst. And what a lot of creators do, right? Because this is kind of just the genre as it stands. They assess a chunk of publicly available content and then they determine that their subject is not doing the best with the resources they have. They say that they're not decent average people with decent average intentions, like really most people are. And sometimes
YouTubers aren't most people. We are already once you cut the pie, cut YouTubers out of the pie, you are already so fucking far away from the average normal person. It's unbelievable.
they're right. And sometimes, listen, the people they talk about are insufferable. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, I can't believe we have to share the earth with people like this. Like, it gets you riled up. But just as commonly, that's kind of a manufactured reaction. Not because these people are like perfect people by any means, but because for the sake of content, it's common that good moments are sort of brushed over and nuance is set aside. And just the worst scenario is touted as being the most viable because that's what sells. And so creators often keep forgiveness at arm's length. It's certainly not something that they encourage because in their reports, you know, in the story that they...
You shouldn't be thinking about things in terms of forgiveness.
They have painted, there isn't room for people to just be like flawed human beings that are actually...
Solutions. Apologies, forgiveness. Doesn't matter. We are talking about brands. All YouTubers are brands. What you need is submission and obedience. Half joking. Not in those terms, but you need them to not do the bad thing and to do the good thing. So that's simple. That's all that matters. That's literally all that matters.
Capable of growth. And yet, regardless, the subjects of these videos are often expected to explain themselves, so they might choose to defend their stance or apologize in an attempt to, you know, clear their name. But it doesn't matter what their explanation is. It doesn't matter what they say in their apology. The judgment has been made. You just suck. And of course, when we're being fed this very pointed narrative that this person is just a terrible person through and through, then of course we don't really care about the effect we're having on someone because, oh, they suck. They're terrible. And what I've noticed about it is that it's very easy for...
It's like the opposite for me. I normally want a specific effect.
For creators,
sometimes I even spell out the effect I want,
and commenters alike, to leave a real mark on people and then just simply drop them when they no longer interest us. And you know, it might feel fun for the viewer, it might feel beneficial to...
It's fun. When people turn themselves into media, man, you're like a fucking book.
To the creator, but in reality,
scribble all over the book, tell people what you think of the book, forget about the book.
Sometimes this can even sort of cross the line into cyberbullying. But some people contest that cyberbullying doesn't even exist. It's argued that people that are, you know, victims of that, they should just remove themselves from the situation. Why don't they just let the perpetrators have their fun with the memory of them and go, hide? Which, in this day and age, with, you know, the internet and social media being as prevalent and as influential and as intertwined in our daily lives as it is, I feel like that's kind of akin to telling a victim of bullying at school to just stop attending. Or like someone goes onto the sidewalk and telling their daily life being as prevalent of them and go, hide. Which in this day and age, with, you know, the internet and social media being as prevalent and as influential. This
point doesn't work for someone who has decided to become an online entertainer. Right?
And as intertwined in our daily lives as it is, I feel like that's kind of akin to telling a victim of bullying at school to just stop attending. Or like...
No. School is a funny example because it creates this image of, well, it's a place you gotta go. Internet is important to understand and to use in today's age, yeah. Becoming an online entertainer and publisher of content is a niche use. That is not the standard kind of use everyone needs to be doing. Doesn't work for that. If we're talking about someone who is not aiming to become or is not a public figure, if we're talking about someone who uses the internet in the normal way everyone is sort of forced to, and they're being fucking bullied because against their will, their existence is being publicized or whatever, and they can't get away from it, sure, maybe I'd accept that. For a YouTuber, no, you chose this.
Someone goes onto the sidewalk and they get teased for their appearance, and it's like, well, just don't leave the house. Or, you know, someone is spreading rumors about you in your workplace, and it's like, no, just let it happen, ignore it. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that
niche, specialist workplace. Entertainment has always been pretty unique.
The internet is kind of this disconnected gathering of... And
necessarily so. I'm not just making, like... I'm just not making... I'm not appealing to how things are, or you know, how things always have been. They're that way for a reason, and it is correct.
People, so it's harder for us to understand where we're affecting people, how we're affecting people. But then also, in my opinion, I kind of think it's like a deflection of blame in saying that, like, oh, it's not our fault. You know, this person deserves this because of this. It kind of justifies us in participating in a behavior that most of us have been told is wrong for the entirety of our lives. So we might have a bit of an uncomfortable feeling about it. So we have to brush it aside and be like, no, I can do this, it's fine. And I think that fallacy becomes particularly evident when you observe some commentary channels. It's hard to differentiate between what actually needs to be said and what might be just a cash grab. When the genre is so saturated and so noisy, everything just sort of blends.
If you are an internet entertainer describing the media published on a platform as a cash grab, I think you've, like, lost... not lost your mind, but lost perspective a little bit. When you say things for money at all, you've already crossed that line by a million miles.
Into one, and you do lose a little bit of access to your empathy when you're constantly exposed to this. I sort of think about this as America's Funniest Home Videos. Like, people would willingly send in clips of them doing something stupid or injuring themselves, falling over, whatever, because they wanted to laugh with a wider audience about those things. But in the current climate online, so many people post to social media and sort of unwittingly...
This is not an Australian. This is someone from evil clone Australia.
But of the joke of thousands, even sometimes, you know, hundreds of thousands of other people through really no effort of their own. I mean, I understand that some of these people are really just trying to get attention by whatever means necessary, and they don't care what it is. But again, that line is blurry because other times these individuals are just genuinely tied up in unfortunate circumstances, or they're being persecuted for a tactless comment or some misbehavior, and perhaps their community rightly drew attention to that, but then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger than it ever should have been. I mean, think about when you make like a faux pas or you do something bad even in the town or city that you live in. There's a circle of people that will have something to say about that and that will punish you for your behavior. But if the whole country found out and started coming at you for it, it would be like way out of proportion. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know if that's a good... This is like half scripted and half just me yapping. I'm sorry.
Okay, what you're saying. However, when you're publishing videos, right, you are soliciting feedback from everyone on Earth. You are making a statement to anyone you can. You are going, I'm going to publish this publicly. That's you saying, hypothetically, I would love for literally everyone on Earth to see this. Okay? You have solicited a response. People talk about, oh, if there's one or two negative comments, that's okay. But if there are too many, it's unacceptable. And when I think about how many, if I'm going to accept that there's a point where there are too many negative comments, how many is that? And I actually came to a conclusion when I was thinking about this in the shower. I think the starting point for there being too many mean comments is however many people are currently alive on Earth times 2. I think if you put something out into the world, if you publish a piece of media, everyone gets at least 2 comments of whatever they want to say about it. Literally every living person. So if you're getting more than 20 billion negative comments, we start to get into dogpiling territory. That's my standard.
All I'm saying is that these people can sort of get plucked out of their natural community and dropped into this like huge alligator-infested pool. And those alligators, let me drop the analogy. These people get underscored as being like near on criminally from the way they're spoken about. Ignorant, cringy, poor, mentally ill, tragic, just in general. Like, look at this poor sot. Do you know what I mean? Everyone, look at the spectacle of a poor sot. That's what it feels like sometimes. It's like viewers will be encouraged to rubberneck into the lives of these people like they're roadside accidents. And normally there's the guise of like, oh, we're so concerned. Oh, we're spreading awareness by doing this. Or we're meeting a moral obligation by pointing this out, right? When it's like, are we? The internet makes things weird, man. The internet makes things so confusing and weird. But
if they put it there themselves, it's fair game.
There's also like this general rampant oversharing that I think makes that normal. Like, it sort of trained us.
If you're like fucking spying on someone in real life, like if they have not voluntarily put it online and there's no public interest element to it, this works. If someone is in their right mind and has put it online, too bad. It's fair game always and forever.
to believe that we're entitled to explanations about everyone else's personal happenings because we want it, we demand it, we get it. And also, we really should just be welcomed into their private lives with no hesitation, with open arms. I mean, what have they got to hide?
Like, with the Birdman thing, I've had some people saying, oh, look, you mentioned something from years ago. I mean, I mentioned something from years ago in response to a guy who put out a video about something from years ago, so I think it makes sense to go look and fact check. However, people are like, so look, your old tweets. And it's just like, yeah. They're 10-year-old tweets, but if I'd put out a book 10 years ago, it would be fine to talk about that. I don't think anyone would find that weird. It's all published media. Of course you can. Of course you can have an opinion on it and bring it up and talk about it and point it out. I don't see the problem.
From us, all these internet strangers, what could they possibly want? Privacy? I'm not a scientist, I'm not very clever, so I don't know exactly how the internet sort of changes our psychology. I've read plenty of things about it, but I couldn't tell you concisely because I'm not clever enough. But I think feeling like we have all the information about everything at our fingertips all the time can lead us to believe that we actually do have the information available online to provide us with all the context that we need, all the facts that we need, and actually a personal understanding of the situation that we need that is necessary to form an unshakable, concrete opinion. And
Cuts both ways, though. People are happy to accept people doing that when the opinion formed is positive. You can't have just one. It's a good counterbalance.
Start a smear campaign when really we kind of don't. And if I paint you this picture, I mean, think about how acceptable it's become for unqualified people to take very confident and very loud stances on another person's mental and physical health online. I mean, we don't have all the information necessary to do that, but we do, and people go with it. And you could argue that the internet is a different place. It's not real life. And I
On its face, that sounds reasonable, but I'd suggest that it is understood that these are the conditions under which people are making these statements. You get what I'm saying?
Get that? But it's undeniable, right? I'd say that every piece of content that is put out online, it does have an impact. It impacts its subject, it impacts its audience, it impacts society as a whole. Even the creator that makes it is impacted in some way or another. But of course, that's not problematic as a blanket. The impact of each piece of content
Impacted bowels.
Obviously changes, you know, situation to situation, person to person, depending on the message of whoever puts it out. I mean, it's all different. Even like on this topic, right? Some commentary videos, they're perfectly fun and entertaining, insightful, constructive, educational. They're all these great things. It's just others can be like redundant, tone deaf, harmful, inaccurate, plain mean. And what I think is that the result of a creator conflating any given individual with being like the poster child, right? Because they're such bad people, so they're like the poster child of narcissism or cringe or whatever buzzword they fall under. Then, well, I think it changes. I think a truly unsavory subject, like if we're really talking about a bad person, which a lot of the times, yeah, we are. Well, I don't know, but I think that they could be honestly fueled to be like just as bad, if not worse, of a person because they reap the benefits, right, from doing that because they get attention, they prosper financially. And like deep down, the creator would like that too because as much as they say like, oh, we want to see this person do better, they don't accept apologies, they don't accept changes for the better because that doesn't pay them. They want to see people do worse. So that kind of, they go hand in hand, commentary creators and like actually bad people. But then on the other hand, you've got like a well-intentioned subject, right? Someone who is genuinely trying their best in life. Unfortunately, what I think is that they might just be shamed into silence because when you're told that you're a bad person and that's all you can be, what are you going to do about it? You can try to learn and evolve, but
this sounds like a discussion of child care techniques. This is infantilization.
people aren't going to give you that grace to have the time to do that. And so even though missteps are an honest part of how we as human beings better ourselves, in that situation where a commentary creator chooses to target you, you've kind of come to the end of your road in some ways, which is just interesting about how much power that holds. Like, some unfortunate subjects could have a stake driven through the heart of their career or their hobby or their reputation through really no fault of their own, in the sense that like they were put on blast by a creator that asserted that it reflected poorly on people to support them, whether that's true or not. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I also am kind of thinking on this vein of people who never...
You turned yourself and what you're doing and what you're saying into media. You open yourself to a kind of commentary that a private individual and interpersonal conversations are not open to. You put on the PvP flag, you might get your shit slapped. Gotta accept it.
Intended to be widely discussed public figures, because they can be affected by these things too. Like TikTok, I guess, where you've got people in like the gardening niche, the baking niche, and it's like there's a certain audience that they can normally attract, but the commentary niche is so broad, it attracts people that are interested in drama or negative things. That is a huge chunk of people. So now you're being shown, this niche content is being shown to so many people who already aren't into the thing that you're doing. So you could go from posting to a tiny little community.
This is an argument that it's not, it is somehow less public. No, its quality of being public is equal.
That you're quite insulated in, you feel quite comfortable in, to being like naked in front of the whole world, and it's like, oh, the air out there is cold. Do you know what I mean? And like deeper than that, some people don't even want to be creators. Some people just like post on social media for fun, just because they want to, like no intention of writing the algorithm to success, and yet, you know, oh, they've done something so cringe that here they are served up on a silver platter for everyone to see. Because like this is, I think, the only creator that I'll mention
skill issue. You should have understood what you were doing.
mention by name, who was kind of like a dated example, which is why I'm bringing him up, but think of the type of internet personalities that Leafy is here would commentate on most often. He was talking about people with small platforms, or people with the likes of autism, even children.
That's fine. His shit fucking ruled. People said it wasn't satire. It was. That's people who don't understand what satire is.
He was talking about children, and when I was a child myself, I thought like, oh, well, whatever. As an adult, which Leafy is here, was an adult. Stop. Like, no. Of course, Leafy is not here anymore. But in certain circles of the commentary genre, there are still relatively
Wait. Leafy's niche evolved to survive the social justice movement. It's still popular in its new form, is what I'm saying, I guess. Okay.
and people being targeted by certain creators.
Did I hear of YouTube Copyright School? You mean the video they make you watch when you get hit with a DMCA claim or something?
With like huge followings and viewers of certain commentary videos, they're kind of encouraged to accept that style as being morally superior. So if you disagree in any way, or if you actually kind of don't join in the mob, then like you're actually a bad person too. So through that, they kind of learn for self-preservation, right? Even though it sounds silly saying that about the internet, you still want to be in good standing in whatever community you fit into, right? So they
answer you. What are the Kikoids saying? Hang on, Kikoids ignored. Answer us. Read your Kikoid messages. Kikoids demand an answer. What's her yapper level? Solid 8.
Learn that like, oh, the world is black and white. It should be seen through a right or wrong lens. And also, like, if something isn't for me, then it must be bad or incorrect or cringy or it shouldn't exist. The bean soup theory, I think, this ties into. And that message, it extends far beyond, really, just the subjects of the content. Because for starters, I think that when you, like, publicly comment on, say, like, the behavior, the appearance or the circumstances, right, of, like, one person, you are also, whether you're doing it inadvertently or not, you're commenting on people that relate to them. Like, if someone commented under this video and they said, ew, your ginger hair is so foul, then they're not just talking to me. They're talking to any other ginger person that might be in the comments. Don't listen to them, okay? It's beautiful. They're talking to anyone that might know a ginger person. And yes, you could argue that nobody should take these comments to heart, unfortunately.
The collateral argument.
That's just not how the human brain works. Written words that you read do lodge in your brain. So I think that by like repeatedly engaging in this more negative
to varying degrees
type of content and, you know, reading the comments and such, viewers might come to understand that leading a normal, if messy, life is the same thing as being an evil, ill-intentioned person. And a lot of us would consider our lives to be messy. So that reflects on the viewer. And then the same thing when, you know, they might get the message that for a person to be a decent enough...
If I accepted everything she's said so far in this video, my position would be that people should not be allowed to publish things on the internet. My position would be that this system can't exist.
Person to be deserving of like support and guidance and grace. They have to appeal to everyone. They have to be perfect. Again, that reflects on the viewer because none of us appeal to everyone and none of us are perfect. So suddenly, you know how people are like, oh, only you remember that. Stop stressing yourself about it. No, not anymore. It's like these embarrassing memories that keep you up at night, or these lessons that we've learned the hard way in our lives and we maybe regret, or we'd go back and do it again differently if we could. Those aren't just like, oh, little faux pas. Oh, just blowing in the wind, they're gone. No, they are now proof that you are an irredeemably reprehensible person. But I guess to cope with that new reality, right, of like a slip up in your life can mean that you are a terrible person, I think viewers can kind of turn one of two ways. Some might establish their goodness.
Polemics are fun. Polemics are good.
Right? Like, no, I am a good person by partaking in like moral grandstanding or virtue signaling because no, I am good. I need to prove that I'm good. On the other hand, some might accept that their character can be whittled down to the sum of their mistakes or their mess ups, just like the subjects of these videos, right? So they might become apathetic and secure as a result. I mean, these are two extremes. Some people might show aspects of both. Some people might just lean one certain way, you know? But these videos, they don't just have the ability to alter a viewer's perception of themselves, I don't think. I think they can really, like, they can almost pollute your brain with noise, right? Where like, you honestly feel...
I'm feeling that from this video, I'm going to tell you that much.
Like, occurrences in strangers' lives are as disruptive to you as, like, personal betrayals are, and, like, personal grievances and annoyances. And that's in strangers' lives. Almost pollute your brain with noise, right? Where, like, you honestly feel, like, occurrences in strangers' lives are as disruptive to you as, like, personal betrayals are, and, like, personal grievances and annoyances.
That's illness. That's a disease. I do see a lot of people like that. The thing I hate about, covering your fucking... what's the fucking name? Not Bitty Cat. I hated covering Bitty Cat, but also the thing I hate about covering like a Skitty Bitty or the Birdman is they run like a strategy of absolutely fucking pushing parasocial feelings to the max. And you end up with not just the people who like them, but the people who don't like them being invested in such a way that they feel like these are people they know and their lives matter to them. And I fucking despise the people in my comments. No offense, YouTube viewers. When I look at the comments, even the people who agree with me, I'm like, wow, you're just like a fucked up little goblinoid. Go outside, bitch. When they're like, thank you, Harmful, this is so important because Gleepglop did this and we can't allow Sneeblesnorp to live. And actually, I'm glad they're heading accountable for something because what they did to the YouTuber I love, Bleeblblorp. Fuck me.
Answers. And that's kind of exhausting. And I think overall that can definitely change the way that viewers interact with like the world or the people around them and just how they approach situations. This widespread scrutiny and rumination and bitterness, it affects everyone. And it doesn't matter if they engage with the content that encourages it.
That vicarious vengeance shit. Why do you look at things like that? I hate it. I do not like it at all.
Or whether they just see it in passing, or whether they simply come into contact with people who do or who have, because it's just out there. I think it's comparable a little bit to tabloid gossip, like, you know, when you're in the supermarket and you see the magazines and it's like...
Yeah, yes, exactly. She is just correct here, yes.
Jennifer Aniston, fat or pregnant, you know, it's like, maybe neither. And why do we care? Because I think, again, not only is it telling us that these things that really are not important to us are definitely important. Please buy them.
I feel like I want to fucking throw up when I was looking at the Birdman's Discord. The shit he says to people like, I'll be your family... Fucking, you have us now. Oh my fucking god. Someone's gonna skin you alive. You are like... you are creating crazy people. Especially when it's typically targeted at very, very young people. Like 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds. Telling them, like, I'll be your fucking They're gonna... Dude... Even just for your own safety, don't be talking like that to weirdos, vulnerable weirdos online, man.
Magazine that also sort of indirectly promotes to its consumers that something is wrong with them or something is wrong with the people around them, but not based on them actually, more based on the harsh judgments that it sort of aims towards these public figures, because we sort of, as a whole, I can't speak for everyone, but I feel like we sort of get taught to look up.
Do you want to see a small secret meme? This isn't anything too significant. I was thinking of including this to contrast it with his behavior in 2022. At the start of this year, this guy's fucking saying, like, acknowledging that tons of the users are underage, and like the second he sniffs out anything adult and minory, he leaps on it. That's what I'm like. Well, in the example I found of that happening, that's not what you did. I can't find... I'm not gonna say that. What actually happens when you see it, though? That's not what you do. You're pretending to be something you're not. Anyway.
To these public figures. So anything that's wrong with them, it must be super duper wrong with us because they're better than us. They're on a pedestal. And now what I think is that this type of content isn't just being produced by journalists, it's being produced on a mass scale by anyone who feels so inclined to make it, which kind of just, it's too much. I don't know. That's how I see it. Because it's one thing to amplify underrepresented...
Also, just a little side note that I don't think there's any reason to include this in a video, but you guys might be interested to hear something that I feel is a bit of insight. One of the Birdman's vulnerabilities is he might not feel like this anymore. And you'll see this in other creators as well. They feel an incorrect sense of separation between the different platforms. So they will say like totally different things in videos, totally different things in Discord, totally different things in Reddit. And think no one would ever cross-reference to check.
Voices. Bring attention.
It's interesting. It's like they're different worlds to them.
To like systemic injustices, or to spread awareness about resources, or even to expect a public figure to practice accountability and correction, especially if what they're doing has affected their supporters or the wider public in any way, if they need to correct the narrative that what they did was right, or if they directly harmed someone or a community of someone's. That's all one thing. But then it's another thing to turn a person or a situation into like a sideshow attraction that we like disparage and we frown upon for our enjoyment or our self-esteem or our financial gain. Everyone will have a different idea of what's appropriate and what's not, but I just think that there is a point where what you're doing is affecting both you as the person making that content and your audience in ways that really aren't doing anyone any benefit. At that point, you're just kind of immersing yourself in negativity for the sake of it, and that can bring you down. I mean, it can really bring you down. So why do we do it then? I mean,
I only get that with like true crime videos, but that is, I don't. That is different. That is absolutely different to what she's talking about. Just hearing about real horrible things in the world.
For the viewers, you're involving yourself in a community. That is so inbuilt into humans to have like a feeling of social belonging. And you really get that when you're sort of ganging up and sharing opinions with a group, right? But then as far as creators go, part of the reason that this type of content has become so prevalent is because it works. It is such a smart method of packaging. You're relying on the traction that this subject already has, the interest that it's already accrued to hook viewers in part for you. And the rest of the work is just tapping into the psychology of a potential viewer. There's guidelines that spell that out for you. It's really very simple. To achieve great success, creators are encouraged to trigger a strong emotional reaction in their viewers. Now, everyone is different, so everyone's going to have particular emotional trigger words, but humans are pretty simple, really, when you boil them down. So,
Flatlander woman.
Mainly, it's promoted that your title...
What's his name? Gunter. What's Gunter's kill word? You learn that as well in Deus Ex, right?
Should include some level, ideally a high level, of desire, curiosity, or fear. Because those three things trigger emotions that aren't just intense, but they're also very quickly processed. I mean, think about how quickly your brain jumps to like, oh, I want that, or oh, I want to know more about that, I feel like I'm missing out, or like, oh, that's scary. Like a word or a concept can spark those things in just a millisecond, and then they can linger until we satisfy them, until we find out what we want to find out, or until we resolve that fear. So naturally, we feel this like sudden onset urgency to click on whatever produced those emotions, and it's not because the topic just matters so deeply to us, it's because of this innate emotional response that we had to whatever we were just showing. And I think particularly along the lines of this topic that we're on, the creators really lean into fear, obviously curiosity, but very much fear, and also the adjacent emotions of anger and disgust and etc, etc. You can probably think about a couple. Contempt, you know, stuff like that. And I mean, you think about it, right? And there's rage bait everywhere and so on and so forth. So
anger, disgust, contempt, disapproval, hatred. The fruit of satire.
When you really pay attention, it kind of feels like more than anything else, our social media feeds serve us this type of content that stirs up these negative emotions. My TikTok does not. You know, stuff like that. And I mean, you think about it, right? And there's rage bait everywhere and so on and so forth. So when you really pay attention, it kind of feels like more than anything else, our social media feeds serve us this type of content.
My social media feeds give me food. And I actually quarantine my stream browser, and my browser for looking at this stuff wipes its cache when I close it. And when I use my everyday browser and I'm like on my phone and stuff, it gives me like food and animals that look weird. That's all my feed gives me. That's all I look at when it's not for like doing YouTube stuff.
That stirs up these negative emotions. My TikTok does not. My TikTok knows that I like videos of cute animals and stuff like that. But for Instagram, and it's like posts about bodies, posts about annoying situations, and it just makes me feel like shit when I see them. I don't want to see that. I went on Instagram to see what my friends were doing. Like, I don't want to talk to them. I just want to look at their pictures. But it's by design that this happens. First, it was junk food, right? Like junk food was carefully cultivated to exploit our biology for commercial gain, and now it's happening again with these online platforms. I mean, developers know that our brains are hardwired to survive, so we scan our environment for threats. We're averse to loss. We are biased towards negativity. Instinctually, we pay more attention to bad things. We retain more information about bad things. We let bad things influence us more than good things. We return to bad things more often to like mull them over or resolve them. So, good job, Hiccup. We are naturally inclined to engage with negative content. And platforms don't care about how we feel after we engage ourselves with certain types of content. All they care about is how much time we spend actively scrolling and watching ads and putting money in their pockets, right? And then how likely we are to return to do it all again. So that type of content spreads the most. We see it the most. We get very used to it. And suddenly we're living in this state of like anger. We're mad over social media, but we're so emotionally invested that we keep going back. Obviously, this is great for social media platforms. And then, of course, that creates an environment where creators, or in this case, commentary creators, are incentivized to stop seeing people as people and viewers as viewers and start seeing them.
Look at like actually popular stuff though. I feel that she's still commentating on a niche. Like fucking look at the stuff that actually has decent views. Like Beard Meets Food. Like a guy eating burgers, 3.7 million views, 4.6 million views, 6.3, 3.7, 7, 6.2. Look at fucking viral animal videos and stuff. The views on stuff that is not what she's saying absolutely fucking rape and crush commentary to death. That's
Instead as content and numbers, because just like the platforms, that benefits them and that taps into their own psychology. I mean, I don't know if you've ever had a post do particularly well online or anything like that, but especially when people are agreeing with you, oh my gosh, you get some dopamine hits. Like, it feels so good in these.
I don't. When I was a lot younger, I got excited about that stuff. I do not at all now, not whatsoever. When it was more novel, like when I first started doing it, now, no.
big numbers. It's just, it does something to you, man, and it makes you want to do it again and again and again. I have experience with, at the start of this journey, like constantly checking my analytics. It's just addictive. And so, of course, you want to hit that jackpot over and over and over again. And this is where it comes in, you know, the situation that we spoke about at the start of the video, right? And I'm not saying that that's why this creator fell into this. I'm just saying that this is something that you might see as a result. The creators might be encouraged to like omit information that doesn't fit their narrative, or that might...
I'm even like even with, like, if a video pops off or something, I'm just like, how many of those are even real people? Like, it doesn't mean anything to me socially. How much of that shit's bots? You look at how many people watch more than half of a video. If you only count the amount of people who watch the full thing as a view as well, I feel like people go crazy. They look at their views and they're like, whoa, but how many of those are really people watching your video? Not very many. How many of those are people who clicked on your video, watched it for a few seconds, clicked on it again later, watched the same few seconds again and peaced out? Your actual number of people who have watched the whole or even most of the video and paid attention to it is a tiny fraction of the actual view count.
Close their narrative, especially they never want to tie off that emotional loop that they have viewers in, because that's what keeps them coming back, that's what keeps them watching. It also, you know, they might be encouraged to like promote the worst case
How many of the people who comment have watched the video? The answer is typically 0.
scenario for a similar reason. They drag out situations far longer than necessary because that's making them so much money. They're getting such good feedback. The benefits so far outweigh the undesirable side effects. So you might deem the more negative consequences as being unimportant because your focus, right, is on maximizing views and engagement.
How
and
many
therefore
are
profit, and
space
really
aliens?
and soon enough, you have a pattern that works, and if it's not broke, then don't fix it. You know what I mean?
Ziegblort sounds like if there was an Austrian painter from space.
So you continue to hook potential viewers in using fear and curiosity. Particularly, you might make someone wonder, you know, why is this person bad?
Some guys here now says commenting on videos should be locked to certain watch times. No. Hard disagree. When you comment, it should tag your comment with your watch time. Other way around. Let people comment no matter how much they've watched, but make how much they have watched public.
Am I anything like that person? So they'll click. And then in your video, you manufacture outrage about this thing that we kind of don't have to care about. Like, it doesn't matter.
And here's something as well. Siffy, I think you'll like this. When you edit it, anything you add or change gets timestamped with how much you've watched now. So it could even be functional for, like, letting the comment be a live react along without the person having to put effort in, where they just add to their comment. They just add to their comment as they watch the video and will automatically tell people which bit they're commenting on.
Us, really. But you convince viewers that whatever you're speaking about is somehow relevant to them because it starts that emotional investment. Then throughout your video, your mission isn't to allow your audience members to develop their own true understanding or uncover their own feelings. And
add the penis size
the narrative that makes them feel just as emotional as they were when they first read that title or saw that thumbnail. And then if you do that well, that works. And at the end of the video, the viewer might be inclined to leave a comment. They might just be boiling over and they need to say how disgusted they are by the subject at hand. They might throw in how much better and more moral they are compared to the subject, or how much better and more moral the creator is in comparison to the person they were talking about. So at this point, the viewer feels very righteous, and so does the creator. The creator's underlying motive might be to sort of throw other people under the bus with the idea of making as much money as possible. But that's not what the audience is commenting on. They're saying that they're a really good person for that. So of course, they're gonna feel really good about themselves. They're gonna think, I'm doing great things in the world, and they're gonna release more similar videos and make lots of money. And then the viewer scrolls away, but they are eager to interact with more negative content. Particularly, they might even look for other videos that creator they just watched might have released about the same subject, because they're so emotionally invested. And there's so much demand from other people just like that viewer for that style of content that there are plenty of options.
It's called the conversion.
To sink their teeth into. Once they're done with that situation, they can move on to the next. And at some point, you know, the viewer might realize...
Technically, I guess. Normally when you think about conversions, you're thinking about sending people to another site. But from video to channel page, that surely counts as a conversion, right?
It's like, man, these videos aren't really making me feel good. They're making me feel hollow. I feel like I'm wasting my time being obsessed with these random people. I feel less connected to my own opinions.
Hollowed
or my
out
my
by
friends and my
YouTube.
family. But by that point, it's...
Mentally ill. Mental illness. Mental illness. Why are you disconnected? Are you not having strong opinions on the video you're watching itself? Your own strong opinions about it? Do people just, like... How are these fucking people consuming videos? Do they, like, jack it into their brain and for a second you're thinking for them? That's so fucking gross.
Kind of.
I like and would recommend... I think people should be adversarial with all the media they consume. That's me. That's what I do on the stream constantly. That's how I look at things to begin with, anyway.
too late. They're addicted. This is part of their schedule now. It's part of their daily habit. And of course, the creators benefit from that hugely. So they know that at this point, they've got their strategy down. They've got the audience wrapped around their little finger. And that is, I think, where they can get like just a little too comfortable, a little too tied up in the numbers, a little too enthusiastic to rush out content. And sometimes you'll notice the quality dropping. And results may vary. You know, like some creators might be viewed as being so trustworthy and they kind of stick to really safe subjects, like people that are so hated anyway that nobody's going to question anything. So their content is just like devoured. Either that or, you know, it can lead to a situation like it's Black Fridays where the creator oversteps so, I guess, obviously to so many people that there's massive backlash. And again, I want to be very clear. I'm not talking about every single creator. There are plenty of creators that have integrity in their work. I mean, 100%. All I'm trying to highlight, I guess, is that this becomes a cycle. And it might not play out exactly like I've just laid out, but there's a cycle in action. And in my honest opinion, that's not healthy. That's really not healthy. And as much as it might feel entertaining, because I understand, I used to watch those videos and I'd put them on the background mainly, and I liked that I felt like I was sort of exercising my brain and establishing my own opinions. Something about it always felt a little bit wrong to me. Perhaps I might even say hikey bad. Roll credits. I think it's very important that we speak out about everything in this world, including negative things. And I also think it's crucial that we are informed about who we're giving our support to. But I think what made me conclude that actually these videos are not great things to be constantly immersed in is the fact that they leave viewers, or at least I know they left me, feeling quite emotionally riled up and almost like sort of burnt out.
That's so good. That is so good. That is so good. You are upset that you haven't been given catharsis. If you identify something bad or wrong or whatever, you want to be leaving people like that. A huge failure of any sort of piece of media is making people feel satisfied at the end so they don't do anything.
In a sense, and like you get so preoccupied by the happenings in the lives of strangers, and like you're constantly connecting it to your own life, and it's just unnecessary. It's not necessary. I just feel so much more fulfilled and better in myself when I take the time to pick out a video that feels actually beneficial. Maybe it's educational, maybe it's just entertainment, but it's not disparaging content. It's not super negative content. But again, that's very subjective. I can't speak for everyone. I have seen a lot of people saying that they experienced similar emotions and feelings to what I did. That doesn't mean that everyone does. There's something out there for everyone. Everyone has their own line drawn in the sand, and I'm not trying to tell you where to place it. But I guess what I am hoping to encourage is for people to give that some thought, because the fact is that I think you know this, but the mystical algorithm, right? It's not really mystical at all, because the algorithm is the audience. You can ask any YouTube guru and they'll tell you that. I mean, genuinely. And I think the reality is that what you choose to watch inevitably impacts how you feel. But there's also the fact that that's what's pushed to other people online. If you think that something is, you know, quite bad, maybe it doesn't need to be searched.
Oh, if you click it, you're sending it to other people.
Then
yeah.
Your power is
pushing it in the is this Lucky Bee? She will fucking run into the loft even though she can't get up the ladder yet, and ban you herself if she sees that.
In your engagement. And so I would implore people, say if I was talking to a friend right now, I'd say try to engage primarily with content that makes you feel good or healthily entertained, or
oh, she heard it. She saw it. Someone just asked if this Kiwi is you.
Truly educated. And if something isn't bringing you peace, consider whether you'd maybe feel better cutting it out. And I guess I'd also say that if it makes you feel uncomfortable to know that creators are like tapping into your brain to make you care about things that you otherwise wouldn't at the expense of your sanity, then don't let them do it anymore. If you would like to be
it's okay, you're safe. She can't get into the loft yet, and she's not a mod.
Aware and take control, then you will probably feel better. And I definitely am not telling you any of this like I'm some all-knowing genius and you're just a little silly billy. I don't think you're a little silly billy, I promise. But I'm an internet dweller. I have been my entire life.
You motherfuckers are absolutely a bunch of very naughty silly billies.
I find out that makes me sound like such a thrilling, well-rounded person. But you know, not just that, I make videos myself. And I've just come to notice that in a world where media is literally everywhere, like everywhere, even on like smart fridges, do you know what I mean? Like it's everywhere. There's just, I think, a severe lack of media literacy being taught and spoken about. And the effects of not just indulging in negative content over and over and over again, but also making and like producing content that leans more negative. And I've realized that, for one, it's not the community that you really want to be a part of, because it's like a self-cannibalizing community. Like you make one mistake and you're expelled because that's their belief, or like you're spoken to in a very harsh tone, or you know, like maybe that aligns with you, it doesn't align with me. And I realized I was just following a trend by doing that instead of establishing my own personality online, which has brought me so much more success, not in terms of numbers or finances, but in terms of like
establishing my personality online.
Personal happiness and like feeling like I'm putting something nice out into the world. And I've got like
establishing my, you mean developing a style, right? Surely, or cultivating a style.
A great community.
You can cultivate a style as a polemicist.
Around me, you know, these are things that are really, really important, and I feel like they can get overlooked because we're like busy or distracted. And like, I'm not saying that creators should have no room to make mistakes or to be imperfect or to.
I think about style. I mean, with my food channel, I think about style a lot more than here, and that's very iterative and involves a lot more of how things work and more elements of the video. Here, style means the order I do things, and I like to subtly mimic the people I'm talking about sometimes. That's a common thing I'll do. I don't know how noticeable it is, though.
Maybe make a misjudgment. I'm saying quite the opposite. Me personally, I certainly don't ever plan to meet the criteria for perfection. I mirror
I mirror the subject sometimes, which is something abusive partners do.
Not even if I tried. I really think that it's important to truly consider your impact as somebody with a platform or somebody that wants a platform or even just someone who uses the internet casually. Think about what legacy you'd like to leave. What kind of person do you want to be? Personally, what I try to do, just in general, is I try to speak about other people as if they were in the room with me, right?
Consideration of reception is more about what the subject's audience will be. I think about what the subject's audience would be receptive to more than what the people who normally watch me would be receptive to.
As if I was speaking to their face, what would I say to them? I think that's a good way to judge whether you're saying something that's a little bit overly harsh or whether you're saying something that's maybe not as helpful as it could be. That's just my opinion though. What I guess I'm trying to say is that everyone will have their own interpretation of what this means, but it is possible, I promise you, to be profitable and also to be productive and invigorating and helpful if you want to be a creator. It might be harder, certainly, it might not be as prosperous, but nothing worth having comes easily. And I think a really good example of this actually is Ryan Trahan. Because I don't know if you knew this, but he is an example of a commentary creator, a former commentary creator, who learned the hard way that the energy that you put out is the energy that you receive, because he used to make these cruel, I guess, like there were these videos
Tim at
about
the
like
local food place. Damn, this fish and chips is totally raping my mouth. I still need to think about not saying things like that. It's so hard not to, because it's funny, and mischief rules my life. Mischief justifies everything. If I think it's gonna be funny, I'll just fucking do it.
and stuff like that about, oh, they're so cringy and unfunny, and he found success in that, especially compared to what he was doing prior. But instead of just accepting that success, he got introspective because he was like, something about this doesn't feel good. It feels really wrong, actually. And so he evolved. He decided that didn't suit him. And what he did was he deemed what he was making at that current time as being exploitative, and he realized that what he really wanted to do was value redemption in his work. He wanted to make redemptive content. And that leads us to the path that he's on now, where currently, I mean, Ryan succeeds, right? I think most people would say that he succeeds in his goals of being like an inspiring creator and being someone who connects people and being someone who values understanding people from all walks of life. Importantly, he has succeeded in being true to himself. He has become richer, undeniably, than he could have been if he kept selling his soul just to chase trends, and not even just in finances and in like career success, but also in community and fulfillment. I mean, he
Developed a good product.
lives, from the looks of things,
You're talking about a Snickers bar.
from the outside looking in, a really beautiful life. And so I guess that's where I'll close off, is I'll say that Ryan Trahan is great. That's the end of my thoughts. And I'm excited to hear yours, because obviously this was very biased, and like, I think I made good points because they're my opinions, but I need to hear yours, right, to form a properly well-rounded idea around this. I always get nervous with content like this because I'm very much like, especially like when I'm making a deep dive, right, I'm trying to be very impartial and very factual. I'm really trying to tell like a true story to the best of my ability as someone who just Googles stuff. But with a video like this, I mean, this is just me, and I'm like, is it really good? Do people really need to see this?
It's an op-ed. It's
really thought this through well enough. Like, I just don't know. But yeah, no, I'm excited to hear your feedback. I'm excited to hear your thoughts, and I'm gonna stop rambling because I've been rambling for how long? Let me check. Oh my gosh, 2 hours. Oh, I hope I can cut this down. Goodness me. I didn't even notice myself yapping this much. What did I even say? Whatever. I'm gonna go. I'm so sorry. I always take up.
Similar approach to me. I put a bunch of shit in a folder from what I've been looking at, and I just go, okay, talk about it now. Or I don't even have the folder and try and fucking remember, which sometimes goes badly. What killed New Zealand's only boy band? The curious case of the psychic twins. The full story of Lily Singh. Your life as an accidental AI slop consumer. Increasingly unavoidable. I was assaulted in a busy public park at 11 a.m.? Holy moly.
I didn't want to make this video.
Jesus Christ.
I just wanted to go back to normal and go back.
I'll probably delete this later, but just a little life update. Feeling assaulted. Might delete later.
To work and have nothing be the matter. But I guess consider this video to be my sick leave notice for however long. It was a public holiday on Tuesday, and I have CPTSD, so I was getting a little bit of a flare up, and I was like, it's a nice long weekend. A good healthy coping mechanism that I know helps me is going for walks, and so I decided to go to our local park, which was packed to the brim with children, families, women, people walking their dogs, the whole 9 yards, and just go for a wee stroll and get my steps up, and you know, it's good for my body and good for my mind. I was there for maybe 30 minutes, and I was getting ready to leave, and I thought I'd take the long way out of the park to get back to my car in the car park. And I ended up walking behind this fella that just sort of sketched me out. He just looked a bit out of it, and I'm very face blind, but I knew he was vaguely familiar, so I figured he probably loitered around places, and that's where I would have seen him before. And I can't remember what I said. Sorry, this is why I couldn't film. I did try to film because I had a script all done, and I couldn't even concentrate on what I was saying. But I ended up behind this guy, and he was just going slower and slower and slower, and I was like, I need to get around him, but...
Turn around. It's not worth it. Listen to your gut in circumstances like that. You fucking turn around.
The only way that I could think to get around him without really having my back to him, I don't know, I thought that was the smartest thing to do. I mean, at this point I was...
Turning around will put your back to him. It will also set you up to fucking run and not have to get past him. Take the quickest route to being around as many people as possible.
Really thinking.
Listen to your fucking gut, especially if you are not big or strong.
To be fair, I was just on a leisurely walk, but I thought I'll go around.
You might offend some fucking tweaker crackhead at the park who wasn't gonna hurt you. Who gives a fuck? Pay that price.
Like, we were on a path, but to either side of us, one side was sort of like a field almost with some trees, and the other side was like a little garden section with, you know, flower bushes and, well, like trees and stuff like that. I don't know, but I thought I'd go through this little garden section and around to way in front of him, and he wouldn't even know I was behind him at any point. Just because I didn't want to, you know, go directly around him and be straight in front of him. I just got some weird energy from him. But there just happened to be nobody around at this point. Like, it was packed literally any other time except for this one particular moment. It was just me and this guy. Again, I didn't even think he knew I was there, so I veered off into this garden section, and I got maybe 25 meters in, and I noticed that I was going...
You went deeper into the area where there were no people? Oh my.
A slightly more concealed area, and I am a girl that walks around a lot, and so I thought, well, I know the drill, you know, I better look around and make sure I'm aware of my surroundings before I step into this area that I'm not as visible in, or, you know, other people aren't as visible to me, and
yes.
Normally you do that and it's fine and there's nobody behind you because it's a very odd thing to have happen, but this time...
You told us there was a fucking tweaker there, some weird looking dude.
I turned around to look behind me, and this guy, I'd walked off and there was like a bend in the path, so when he was going around the bend, he must have seen me walking on the far end of the garden, and he took that like diagonal entrance to me and started running at me, and it was so confusing because I just couldn't place his intentions. Like, there are a couple directions he could have gone in, and people do...
What? Confusing because you couldn't place his... Some fucking tweaker is running at you!
Run in the park, so...
You're about to die!
Maybe I'm misconstruing his intentions. I thought he was going very slow. I think I got an adrenaline dump.
What you were worried about reading some fucking freak at the park running at you?
I thought he was jogging, but thinking about...
This is the counter to everything she said in her previous video.
At the distance he covered, he must have been going really fast. We made eye contact as he was running up, and he was just emotionless the whole way.
This level of metacognition is bad for you.
Like, his eyes looked completely vacant, and it was just really, really strange. But, you know, I was really confused.
If you think like she does, you will get molested.
By his intentions, because he got quite close to me, and then he sort of paused, and so I was like, maybe I'm reading this wrong. Maybe, is he okay? And this is all happening within, like, split seconds. We maintained eye contact the whole time as he paused by me, and then took a final step and lunged at me. So he had his arm around my neck, and I think he was trying to put me in a chokehold, but he locked it really badly. Like, he didn't lock it properly. There was pressure against my neck, but he left a little gap between his arm and his hand here. I don't know if maybe I just didn't give him time or what, because as soon as I felt his arms around me, obviously, I was like, I have to get out now because I'm not strong enough to fight him off once he gets me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I pushed his arms up and I ducked as fast as I could, and I took off, and I was screaming, help. I thought I ran a couple of steps, but I ran like 30 meters. I was going back the way I came in, so maybe like 25 meters in, I turned around to check if he was following me, and he was chasing after me. And I had my phone out calling 111 because I was calling for help and there was still nobody around, and I was like, shit, you know. And then I dropped my phone. It was like something out of a horror movie. The grass was slippery, so I stumbled a little bit and my phone just flew out of my hands. You know those scenes in horror movies where like someone's getting dragged away by their legs and they're like, oh no, I just did something. Like, I thought that's what was going to happen because he was pretty close to me, but I picked up my phone and I kept running. And I got really, really lucky because I finished dialing 111, turned around, and I saw him. He must have...
Hexathian says, and the worst part is he was fucking weak, dude. I got away easily. What a pussy, weak-ass headlock.
Also slipped in maybe a similar spot because right by the verge before I got back on the I looked by the verge.
Card posting public spotting.
You know, by the path, if that makes sense. He was literally just laying face flat on the ground. So I, again, ran way further than I thought I did around this bend, and I ran into the one other...
I couldn't quite hear most of what he said, but when he got me in the headlock, he whispered something about being a long-time progressive community organizer into my ear.
Set of people that were in the area at the time. It was a couple walking their dog, and I was like, don't go that way, don't go that way. And yeah, at this point I was on the phone with the operator. We didn't see the guy again, so we figured he must have gone out the other way. And the police were awesome. They're actually familiar with the guy because he does loiter around town and he does have previous convictions, and so he was very
nice.
Did a phenomenal job. And then I went to the station and gave a statement, and they were all very kind and very supportive. Even the operator was phenomenal, gave me lots of tips. And once that was over, I kind of just wanted everything to go back to normal, and nothing had really sunk in yet, and I was like, maybe I'll just be able to ride this and I'll feel okay. So I was talking to friends. The next day I tried to film a video, like I said, and I just couldn't. I can't concentrate on anything. He says Christopher Wilde is nothing more than a famous rich stranger. From the other duo pop out on stage at this club to sing Christopher. From the other duo pop out. From the other duo pop out to sing. From the other duo pop out on stage to sing Shades, Christopher Wilde's song that he does with Stubby.
Mm-hmm.
My brain just doesn't think it's important. Same with eating.
Right.
I have to eat because I get hungry, but my brain thinks it is not of peak importance. I think it still thinks that it's fighting for survival. And it's just very bizarre because, I mean, he didn't even really do anything. Physically, I'm fine, which I'm so grateful for, and I'm grateful in a way that it happened to me.
The only thing I can imagine is if she says, and not someone weaker or someone who couldn't handle it.
In the way that it did, it could have been so much worse, and it also could have been anyone more vulnerable than me. There were so many kids at the park that day, and I think that honestly, considering his previous history, I think he probably thought that I was younger than I actually am. There's a chance of that. What's so gutting to me about all of this is that in the past maybe 2 years, 3 years, I mean, I was doing better. I'd worked so hard to overcome everything that I'd gone through in my childhood, and I kind of thought, man, what are the chances of anything happening to me again that's going to set me back drastically? I mean, I've kind of got all the shit out of my way, you know, now I just need to deal with that shit and move on to bigger and better things. And I was really starting to feel better. I felt like I was finding myself and joy, and I was making friends, and I even had some hopes and maybe some aspirations for the future, which I'd come a long way from basically just surviving day by day and feeling like shit the whole time. And I don't know how long it's going to last, and I feel I'm very much in uncharted territory, but I just feel exactly the same way as I did when I was a kid all over again. And it's just gutting because I spent so many years.
All right, I've had enough. I hope you had a fun time today. I hope you have all been taking your miracle cure.
We're not woke here. We can say anything.
Using the book to learn how to take your ADHD meds. Thank you, Lord Herberbeard. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. Thank you for your viewership, companionship, incredible generosity. I'll be back tomorrow. I think we will definitely do Neo Feud 2 tomorrow. We've still got a lot more to get through in that. Jesus Christ. But it's got to be worth it, right? It's got to be worth getting through the whole game. We played through the first one. There have been some amazing moments. I feel like 2 is worse than 1 in terms of density of good moments, though. Yeah, anyway. Until then, good night, sleep time. Don't let the man in the New Zealand park bite.